Good afternoon, Facebook, and welcome to the Health Angle. Now, the Health Angle is part of HealthierLifeTV, and here's my co-host.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everybody. Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, that's Warren Connolly. He doesn't put his surname on the name thing. I don't know if he wants to stay incognito, but
incognito. I don't. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
All right. So you turned up with about 100 seconds to spare, so that was good. I didn't have to fly solo for a short while, but
No.
Anyway, look, let's get straight into it. Today's subject is the power of community. Now, bear in mind that we talk from a sports angle, but this could go away into other little angles here. So it's the power of community. What does community do for us? Warren, what's your opening statement for that?
My opening statement.
Or opening comment?
Yeah, no. I mean, opening comment. But I'm gonna use an example from something that happened today, and this is what I was in the throes of telling you now. So Andrea and I, we went to a lake today. It's an old quarry. It's on an island here near to where we live, and we went there to spend the afternoon there. And I bumped into a couple, and the husband talks English, and he asks me, "Are you from South Africa?" And I said, "Yes, I am." It turns out that he's from my hometown. Now, I quickly lost track of time, and it just got me thinking on the way back. It just shows, it illustrates again the power of community. Even if you meet one person that has something that links you to something that you are very familiar with, like for example, your community of your hometown, your family, your friends, and then you bump into somebody totally randomly in a country halfway across the world. And that comes from your hometown. It draws you back to that emotion. It draws you back to that feeling that you remember from being back at home. It's an automatic thing. It happens like that. So I thought, yeah, that might be a good story to tell, to illustrate just how powerful community is.
Yeah, and because it goes right across the spectrum, doesn't it? So here's a classic example. My buddy Brian's on here, and we're both referees. We're both trained. We've trained this morning together. So
okay.
Yeah, and again, that although we were in the same job, we were both police officers. We, I suppose, in some way, have come from a community, from one to another. We didn't know each other. I don't think we knew each other in the police. I mean, it's just not unsurprising since there was about 28,000 people there. So police officers. Yeah. So, but now, yeah, we're out. We've been training the last few days. It's good. We're getting a little bit better.
But in saying that, I mean, I don't know how big is the refereeing community community in England? How big is the refereeing community in England, would you say?
It's in the thousands. Right, it won't be in the tens of thousands. It'll be probably in the thousands. I don't know. Okay, maybe 10,000. I really don't know. It's because not everyone's current. Not everybody. Not everybody refs all the time.
But the fact that you and Brian have become friends in a refereeing community, and you just happened to have both been police officers in the past. That just shows what a small world it really is. But it also, again, you kind of gravitate towards people that have something familiar in history with you, like police force, for example. Or coming from the same hometown, and meeting halfway across the world, you tend to.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good, isn't it? Excellent. I mean, yeah. So Brian says there's 27,000 refs in England.
So way more than 10,000, but yeah.
Yeah, mate. I mean,
thank you, Brian.
I was guessing. I had absolutely no idea. Hi, Leanne. How are you?
Hello, Brian. Hello, Leanne. Thanks for that insight. Great topic.
So let's get into it. So, okay, why do people join communities? My first little thing is it's joining something that's bigger than you. Yes. Okay, because a lot of people think they're lone fighters, they're lone warriors on their own, But at the end of the day, you will join some kind of community at some stage. Okay.
Even if you're a hermit, you join the
Even if you're a
community.
hermit,
You will join the community of hermits.
Yeah, the community of hermits. I don't know that one, but
no, but I mean, think about it's a small and lonely community. You may
you could also say the community of pilgrims.
Okay.
Well, no, the reason I said that is because of hermits tend to go walking, don't they, and things like that, and things like special forces, because they call themselves pilgrims, and they go a lot of walking, don't they? So yeah, that's how I saw it. So that's that one. If you're part of a community, you get great tips, tricks, and information. That's another thing that happens, and that's another good reason to be part of it. So we're in different communities. We're in a small community together, and we're in a larger community together, aren't we? So and there's some great tips that come out. Okay,
all the time.
And the
nice thing about it is that it's not always just relevant to whatever the community is involved in as well. You know, you often, for example, like when you play a sport in a team, you're a part of a community. It's like a brotherhood. Same like the military, same like the police force. It becomes like a brotherhood. So you're gaining insights and tips and tricks of the trade, or life tips, life tricks. So it's about everything, not just about what you're focusing on and within that moment, that time when you're in that community.
Yeah, I mean it's a fantastic community to be part of. However, it was a bit nomadic, the police, because what used to happen is you used to go to demonstrations and you would meet people and you'd seen them for 15, 20 years, but you never knew their name. So you'd see that, you know, it's funny because you'd see them out walking and you have a conversation, but neither of you know each other's name. It's so strange, you know. And of course you were moving police stations all the time and things like that. So yeah, sometimes you just didn't get to know people. You knew them by sight, you knew them to speak to, but
maybe that's just an English
many
thing. Maybe that's just maybe.
Well, maybe it's just a London thing, because if you go in other parts, because people move fast in the big cities,
and
and they've got less time for people. Okay, well, if you go out up to Derbyshire or a place like that, and it's the complete opposite, where nobody lets you get on because they all want to talk to you. It's like unbelievable. So another little thing: professional development. If you're looking to develop within a community, if you're looking to develop as a whatever it is you're doing, whether it's sports or anything, you're going to become more professional, more quicker, because there's more stuff going on. There's more people to talk to. And you can't spend all your life alone. Well, you can. I mean, but you become a sad individual, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, if you try to live life,
go into our man cave or our lady cave. I forget that it's the, you know, but
our cave.
So,
and it's important to have
cave,
that. Actually, it's important to have that cave. You know, whatever that looks like as well. It's just as important to have the man cave or the lady's den or whatever the case may be. However that looks, but it's important to have that just as much as it's important to be part of a community.
There's only one problem with the cave. As I've got older, I'm not able to move that stone across the doorway. So, Mukesh, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Hello, Mukesh. Wow.
What else have we got?
What about a sense of belonging?
Yes, I didn't write that one down.
I think a sense of belonging is probably the most subconscious one.
Yeah.
So it's not something that people typically think that they want to join a community for, so they can belong. But it is most definitely, I think, in my opinion, one of the most powerful reasons for joining a community, that people don't always think of it like that.
No, that's right. And you've got to join communities where you feel safe, where you feel part of it, where you feel happy. It makes you smile. And I wouldn't say do without it, but what I'd say is it's got to make you feel good. It's got to be a feel-good factor.
Well, and the same can be said for criminals and members of gangs. They feel safe. They feel like they belong to something, and this is why they join them.
Let's interject with a little story. Well, you know, obviously, what a job I used to do to be a police officer. When I was 21, I had my first child, Natalie, and basically, the mother-in-law, she was going out with a criminal.
Okay.
So, to cut a long story short, we went out for a drink in the evening just to celebrate, you know, wet the baby's head, as they say, and it went on rather long, and we ended up at this little dingy club in the middle of Canning Town. Now, if anyone knows Canning Town in the 70s, it was not a very nice place to be, and not a place for police officers, I can assure you. So anyway, it was like this little knock on the door, okay, and this little thing opened. Well, it was like, "Hello, George." It was like, "Hello, George." And and the first thing he says, he looked down at me and went, "Who's he?" I'm nobody. So I went in this place, this private club, and it was all criminals.
Oh wow!
Anyway, I'll say no more about it, but it was interesting.
In the 70s, I can imagine that in England in the 70s, and a criminal den, that must have been one hell of a story to tell, surely.
Yeah. So I quickly became an apprentice plumber. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so communities, great places to seek advice, great places to be proactive and learn to be proactive. So,
why do you think it's a good place for people to learn to be proactive?
Because it brings you out of your shell. Because there's all different types of people there, and you can actually mix with other people like you. Whatever you are, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. So, and it shows you both sides of the coin. Okay, and different types of people, and I know there's millions of different types of people, but just purely for that, just extrovert, introvert, it's big for an introvert to start talking to extroverts. So, and vice versa. I mean, and it's just good. It's good learning. So
it's good learning for extroverts to learn when to be patient and when they're dealing with introverts.
Absolutely.
Well.
Yeah.
But that's a different subject. So
well, it's one of my next points, and that is about depending on what you're doing. It could be an athletic club, it could be a business, it could be just a Facebook group or something like that. But you would do things at your pace. Okay. I think being in a community allows you to do things at the speed that you want to do it. Okay. Now, in business, we always want to go as fast as we possibly can, but sometimes it just doesn't pan out like that. You know, there's maybe a few missing pieces of the puzzle you need to go away and find before you can come back in and increase the momentum. But the community will allow you to do that. Yeah, I remember being in an athletic club, and it was great being around. They weren't professional then, but I mean in the how good they were. They were professional athletes. We had one in our club, Enfield Harris, Jeff Capes. I don't know if you remember him.
No,
Big
I don't know.
fella who did the old shot put.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and it was just nice. You could go and talk to them and find out, you know, what they're doing, and it was great. And he actually wasn't a very nice bloke. He was quite.
Was it? Okay.
But
Jeff, if you're watching, he doesn't mean it.
No, it's all right. I feel safe. I feel safe because he must be in his 80s or 90s. I don't know. I really don't know. Sorry, Jeff. Great competitor, though.
And if you look at, you talk about doing things at your own speed and having that community there to support you, to guide you, to show you how to keep you going and give you the impetus to keep moving, is a great example that came to mind for me is Weight Watchers.
Yeah.
You know, Weight Watchers is a fantastic community. It has been a fantastic community for particularly ladies for many years, because many women struggle to lose fat and they struggle to keep their weight in check. But it doesn't matter whether you lose 10 or I don't know, British stone, you talk about stone or pounds, but let's say it doesn't matter whether you lose 15 pounds in 3 months or whether you lose 15 pounds in 1.5 years with weight. Yeah, as long as you do it and you're consistent and you keep going for your targets and your goals. Like Weight Watchers is great because there's many other people in the same boat as you that are part of the community. So they can empathize with you, they can coach you, they can guide you, mentor you, all of these kind of things as well. So yeah,
because that's another thing, you can get mentored unofficially in some respects in some of these communities.
Yes, true.
Yeah, I mean, people like top athletes or Tony Robbins, they've all got their entourages and communities, and they've got coaches. See, Tony, you can imagine Tony Robbins as a coach. You can bet your bottom dollar.
He's got a coach.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Everybody in certain circumstances needs a coach.
Yeah.
So especially if you're in sports, you should.
Everybody needs a coach somewhere in their life. It just depends to what extent, how long, what it is. Everybody needs a coach at some level in their life.
Yeah.
One of my closest friends is a coach for Tony Robbins. He's one of his his
I remember you saying,
coaches.
Yeah.
And even he uses a coach as well. So it's But Tony Robbins most definitely does have his own coach. That's for sure.
The other thing about communities is you get to mix and rub shoulders with the best. Okay. And I think that sometimes it rubs off. So it's another good reason to be there.
If you look at a sport club like a rugby club or football club or athletics club, and you get those participants, the athletes, the players that have retired, for example, or they're nearing the end of their careers. You're part of that community. They start to coach, mentor. You're talking to them, having a chat at the bar. They talk about stories. You pick up on those stories. You figure out what they did to create some success for themselves, and how they changed their training regimes or what they did with their eating or whatever the case may be. And you just need to be a barfly or a fly on the wall in the community and just open your ears and be willing to listen, and you can pick up on a lot.
Well, that's right. I mean, even if you're like at networking events, not only can you pick up contacts, you can find that professional that you were searching for. You might come across them and go, "Oh, I'm really glad I went to that event because I met that person." And so yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you have good times and bad times, good and bad, positive versus negative, and if you have something happen to you, like an event or an incident, it's much better to be part of something and have contacts that you can speak to, because there's nothing worse than being on your own. Loneliness is awful. And I hold my hands up and say, look, I love to be around people. Don't like being on my own. I don't mind sort of a couple of hours, go and do some training or something, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life, being on my own. I like to be part of things.
I'm just as comfortable being by myself as I am with other people, but
everyone's different, aren't they?
There
are great times when I love to be on my own sometimes, but sometimes you think, do you know what? I need some community. I need to talk to someone. So
I have a story relating to that, and it was a very powerful story for me. I was living in Dubai, and I was part of a group of guys that would get together once a month. And this is something I've been wanting to do now. So if anyone's listening, Paul, anyone else, we'd get together once a month and we would basically coach and mentor each other through our life processes, our life. And we would help each other to step up to the next level on each occasion. Every month we would then come back and we report in from our previous month how life has been going and what's happening. And we would coach each other through if need be, and otherwise just chat. And sometimes we would be there for 2 hours, 3 hours, never that long, but 2 to 3 hours typically. And there was one occasion where I needed to get money in my hands as quickly as possible. I had the banks on my back, or one bank, and they were basically threatening to send me to jail if I didn't pay. So I had to get an X amount of money in my possession as quickly as possible, and and I had no idea what I was going to do at the time. I started panicking. And that same day I had that conversation with the bank on the phone. I had that meeting, and it was just that same night. It was a Monday evening, and we only met once a month, and it just happened to be that same evening. And I went into the group, and the guys, we sat down, and I said, okay, who would like to go first? I said, look, I need to go first. I need to go first. And they looked at me, and I just told them my story, and they all started coming to me with that. They were just in chatting, there was no judging, nothing like that. No, like, you've done what the hell have you done kind of stuff. No, nothing like that. It was just, okay, how can we create a solution for this? And this is what we did. And we sat for the whole meeting. It was just about me that night. And because the guys just banded together to help me, and we came up with a solution. And I had the money within 2 days. Within 2 days, I had that money that I needed to prevent myself from going to jail.
Did you enjoy doing the gardening? No, sorry, I'm making light of it, and I know it was a serious situation.
I can make light of it now, because I know what the outcome was, and it was a positive outcome, so it's okay. Even if it was a negative outcome, it's still, you can make light of it, because it's only life at the end of the day. Didn't kill me.
Absolutely. So so that brings up another little bit, because then you're talking, there's a collective wisdom within a community, which again you can hear, you can speak about, it can rub off on you, and it's very, very important that you're there. If you're not there, you might miss that one thing that makes the difference. Okay, so and of course you get support there as you got within that meeting, and it ups your belief level in the human race as well. If apart from anything else,
that's just the human race, but yourself too. And this leads me to a question: when did the concept of community begin? Do you know? Can you remember from your studies at school when the concept of community started?
Well, you mean the studies at school when they asked me to leave? No, but I'm going to okay. It's going to be BC. Yeah. So no, probably not. No, but it's lots of things you pick up in history and things like that. And
I mean, it started when before hunters, when men were still hunters and gatherers. When people were hunters and gatherers living in small little families in caves, huddled up and trying to protect themselves. And then they decided, no, hang on a second. With the collective consciousness, the collective thinking, and the wisdom that comes from many people, it would be safer and more prosperous if we created communities. So families decided to get together in certain areas, and it just evolved from there. And that was the first formation of communities. They decided it was safer to live in a smaller community with a few families living together, and then that created a clan. They created a clan. And then from clans, it started to towns. Little not towns, but little homesteads. And then from homesteads to villages, from villages to towns, and that was how a community grew.
Well, in places like France, they have hamlets, and there are 66,000 hamlets in France.
Well, there's hamlets in England as well.
That's from the feudal system.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I used to work in a hamlet in England, in Buckinghamshire, called Latina. Latina, it's a little hamlet.
Sounds very posh.
Oh, posh! It's posh beyond belief. Trust me. Very posh.
So just a couple of other things before we sign off, and that is pushing your limits. You're more liable to push the limits if you're getting encouraged by other people, and attached to that also is accountability. Okay, whatever it is you do, whether you're part of a community or not, you've got to be accountable. Whether you're accountable to yourself and being honest, but it's much easier to be accountable and tell people what you're doing, so they can hold you accountable and say, "How did you get on with that goal?" And whatever it is you did, did you run those 30 miles or whatever it is, very, very important. So Have you got anything else before we wrap up at all?
Yeah, I mean, also the accountability part is, it doesn't have to be a part of a community even. For example, Andrea and I, we're doing a course together. And when I purchased the course, instead of purchasing the course just for myself and then she does the course with me, I said, no, we'll each purchase the course. I'll purchase for both of us. And then we work together as a team, so that we're holding ourselves accountable. So even if you don't have the time to be part of a community, and you got to factor in time as well. So you don't have the time to be part of a community, but you do have a spouse or a partner. Work with them as part of your team, as part of your community. Be a community together, you and your husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whatever you want to call each other. And then that way you can hold yourself accountable, but do something that is meaningful, growth orientated, and is going to help the two of you develop as individuals and as a team together. And that's a very powerful tool to have with somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds brilliant. Yeah, and it puts a different slant on community. My community used to be the pub.
Yes.
Many years ago, of course.
Oh, for many people, most people.
Yeah, I mean, and in certain circumstances, like if you go to my friend's pub in Shropshire, up to down towards Wales and that, it's a lovely place to be. Whereas pubs in London, there may be trouble, so they're not the community you want to be around. Competition's another one. You can within a community, you can compete against someone in a friendly way. Or not a friendly way, if that's your way, but there's lots of things. Nobody can win on their own. I don't think so. Not in the long, and nobody has all the answers.
Well, even if you did, how rewarding would it be? Just think about it. Just imagine if you ran the London Marathon by yourself on your own.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you had all the officials there, you had all the spectators there, lining the streets, and you were the only competitor. How empty would that be when you cross the finish line?
Well, funny, when I did the London Marathon, the biggest thing was the crowd.
Okay.
The biggest attraction to the runner, apart from doing a good time and finishing and all that, is the crowd, because they lift you. So,
well, some athletes
that's another form of community, isn't it? So.
Well, I mean, you look at football supporters. Look at those communities that have been built around the world from supporting football clubs. They're huge communities. I mean, they are some of the biggest communities on this planet. For example, I'm a big Man United supporter, and I have been all my life. And I know that. I know that's how it. Because I know many people that anybody that is not a Man United supporter hates Man United. I know that.
No, they don't. They just hated Alex Ferguson.
Well, they were just jealous of Alex Ferguson.
Oh, probably, but hate's a good place to start.
No, hate is not a good place to start. I always tell
I'm joking. I am joking.
But and I just always remember that Manchester had supporters. They have all supporters all over the world. You can go to Singapore, you can go to Thailand, you can go to Vietnam, and you will find Manchester. In Kuwait, there was a Manchester United supporters club, but there's also an Arsenal supporters club in Kuwait as well.
No. And Liverpool and Chelsea, and they're all the bigger clubs.
I guess the bigger clubs, but actual supporters clubs, and it's far and few between for the spread like that. But I think Arsenal, Man United, probably Chelsea, they have a lot of clubs, a lot of supporters clubs around the world. Yeah, they really do. And it's look, for anybody, I'm involving myself. I've involved myself with a company out of Dubai at the moment, and I'm working with them as like a knowledge broker, so to speak. And they're creating a community for people for their health, fitness, nutrition, that kind of stuff. And I'll be working with them on the fitness side, on the coaching side, as an NLP coach. And their whole premise is to build a community, and they talk a lot about the community aspect, because because they understand the benefit that people get from being part of, knowing that they can be part of a community. So they're not just joining a 12-week program to do it on their own or just with their husband or wife, but there's going to be a community of people there with them. So for example, we'll be doing once a week, weekly calls where I'll be coaching everyone that's on the program at that time together, and then working them through that. So that'll be a very powerful, potentially powerful community for those people that are on that 12-week course.
Yeah.
So you got to do it for somebody else. You really have to, if you want it to have any meaning, any value, whether you're being coached, mentored, you're doing it with somebody, but you need to create your own community somehow, in some shape, form, or way. It's so important. Absolutely.
And I won't be without communities. Yeah, but do you remember one thing, which is, I suppose, a little bit slightly negative, is that don't stay in a community that is not good for you. Don't stay in for the sake of staying in there. Okay, make sure it's positive, uplifting, and informative, entertaining, and anything like that. And just contribute as well. That's the other thing. Make sure you contribute.
Yeah, that's a good point. Don't be a passive passenger. Be an active participant.
Absolutely.
And you're 100% right. If it's a community that's not helping you to grow, then don't be part of it. And like a group of friends is a community, right? And the old saying is that you're the total sum of the 6 people you spend most of your time with.
Oh, that's worrying.
That's worrying. For Paul, it's me. For Paul, it's me, myself. I
was thinking of dopey, happy. I just couldn't get through to Sleeping Beauty. I don't know what happened there. Is it Sleeping Beauty? Oh no, Snow White, isn't it? Snow White. I couldn't get
Snow White.
They wouldn't let me through to speak to us. So, oh well.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me through to speak to.
And you wouldn't have let me in the community. But okay. So, if you found this Facebook Live enjoyable, interesting, informative, or thought-provoking, please like this page, like this specific video, and comment on it, and please share it if you can. That'd be wonderful. That's all that we've got time for today, unless Warren's got a final word he wants to say, which I'm quite happy about. And
what I would like to add is, if you can, let us know what community you are part of. Even if your community is your family, because family's community too. So, but let us know what type of community you actively engaged in. And if you're not, perhaps also let us know what community you might like to be part of, and we can maybe have a chat with you about that, a virtual coffee, either Paul or myself, and help you to figure out something for yourself as well. I'll be happy to have a chat about that and help you figure it out. All right.
Sounds like a good idea.
Arrivederci.
Have an amazing day. Take care, and bye for now. See you later.
Ta-da. Ta-da. Bye-bye.